In Capital News tonight, first major project signed with 100 days of President Dr. Hussein Mwinyi's leadership. The government has directed hospitals to agree to patient service guidelines and costs for the respiratory cases. And in sports, young African fans and members have been urged to be patient as the club goes through transformation. Good evening, this is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Nasma Mwambe. Let's get started with the national news. As 100 days since President Dr. Hussein Mwinyi of Zanzibar came into office draws near, his government has signed the first major project on the blue economy worth 6 billion shillings. Speaking at the occasion, President Dr. Hussein Mwinyi said that the agreement was historical, particularly on construction of the port and various infrastructures.
Utahusisha ujenzi wa maegesho ya meli za uvuvi yenye gati 5 kwa upande wa bandari ya Mpigaduri hapa Unguja na gati 2 kwa bandari ya mkoani Pemba.
It will involve parking of fishing boats, 5 ghats in Zanzibar and 2 ghats in Pemba. There shall be purchase of fishing boats, construction of port services center for small-scale fishermen, construction of fishing gear factory, fish processing plant, fertilizer factory that will be using marine byproducts, international fish auction market, all storage facilities, and University of Fishing and Fishermen. Several investors are needed in the country due to the available opportunities like Bwawani Hotel, Stone Town, Airport in both Zanzibar and Pemba.
Kwa maana hiyo, lazima sasa tujipange katika kuhakikisha tunawekeza vyema katika viwanja vya ndege Unguja na Pemba.
The government has directed all hospitals in the country to adhere to patients' attendance guidelines as well as cost charge on patients with respiratory problems. The directive was given Dar es Salaam by the Permanent Secretary from the Ministry of Health, Community Development, Gender, the Elderly and Children, Professor Mabula Mchembe, during the second day of his tour in various hospitals to inspect provision of services to patients with respiratory problems.
Ni swala ambalo nimeliona jana na baadhi ya kwenye mitandao imetoa, hata baadhi ya hospitali zingine wametoa makaratasi ya kuonyesha kwamba kuna wagonjwa anayeonekana matatizo ya kupumua atachajiwa kiasi hiki.
Yesterday on social media, I saw a list of hospitals that have released official documents of charges of respiratory problems. They should stop such practices. It is not true that patients with respiratory problems have coronavirus and that charges are too much. I saw a document from Kairuki Hospital that they charge 600,000 shillings per day for patients with respiratory problems. I urge private hospitals not to take advantage of the situation.
Hospitali sio ukweli kwamba imejaa wagonjwa wa corona.
It is not true that the ICU is full of corona patients. In that special room, we have patients with different diseases. The hospital is not full. The only problem we face is patients who need medical care do not show up. This is very dangerous. Pregnant women must come for clinics. They do not show up, and other patients with regular attentions are not showing up to attend their regular clinics, and that is dangerous for their health and well-being.
3 people are alleged to be bandits who were hiding in the forest near Tamaku village, Biharamulo Street, Kagera region, were killed by the police during an attempt to hijack vehicles. Kagera Police Office Commander Vokatus Malimi said that the bandits were found with an AK-47 gun, 18 bullets and 3 bombs.
Nchi ambao ni raia wema waliona kundi la watu ambao walilitilia mashaka toka mwanzo kwamba ni kundi la wahalifu na walionekana kuwa na silaha wakiwa wanajiandaa kufanya uhalifu wa eneo hili.
Good Samaritans saw a group of people who were suspicious from the beginning by carrying weapons at this area, which previously had a lot of abduction crimes. When police officers received the information, immediately acted upon it. Where they reached here, the bandits began shooting to our police officers, whom they also had to defend themselves. At the shootout, 3 people among the bandits were found dead. If there is a person who thinks they can come to our region and do crimes, must think twice, because we are well prepared and have 24 hours patrols.
Some members of the parliament have called on government executives, particularly ministers, to ensure that they implement government instructions given by the President, Dr. John Magufuli, when opening parliament and to oversee implementation of various projects. They made a statement when contributing to the President's address to open the parliament.
Wasimamizi miradi lazima wajue kwamba kiongozi wa nchi anataka nini.
Project leaders must know what country's leader want, and they rely on his guidance. Due to his good leadership, we urge his subordinates to act as him.
Wengi wanachangia kwa kumpongeza.
Lakini kama hatutakuwa na malengo kwa taasisi, wakuu wa idara, halmashauri, hatuwezi kufikia hayo ambayo Mheshimiwa Rais anatamani tuyafikie. Kwa lazima tuwe na malengo kwa kila mmoja wetu.
Kwa hiyo niombe serikali iagize wadau wote kufanya impact assessment.
I call on the government to conduct impact assessment for all levies that were introduced, because sometimes they do not have positive impact to farmers.
Wakulima wadogo ipasavyo.
Residents from Majengo, Tukuyu and Tunduma Carter Street in Tunduma Town Council, Momba District, Songo Region have complained on the decision to close 5 street roads which were constructed after their houses were demolished. They say they have not yet been compensated for the demolition of the houses, while others claiming that closure of the roads has affected their social and economic activities.
I wonder why they did not think of involving residents who live here. The road is impassable due to blockades that were kept by the authorities. We are not benefiting anything. It is just chaotic. Shops are closed. No one is interested to do business here. Closing these roads have really affected many economically. That area was notorious for illegal businesses. That is why we closed all roads in that area, as a means of trying to monitor the area well. We cannot say that the roads are closed, but rather small streets are the ones closed, not the main road.
Residents of Maguluwe suburb in Kamsisi village, Mlele district, Katavi region expressed concern after Tanzania Forest Service demolished their settlements with fire in Kamsisi forest, claiming that the regional commissioner had allowed them to remain in the area until they had harvested their farms. The acting district commissioner of Mlele district, Jamila Yusufu, has said that the residents are not allowed to conduct human activities in the forest.
Chakula junia 10, mahindi, mpunga junia 6, maparage, nguo za watoto ambao.
My 20 sacks of maize, 6 sacks of rice, beans, clothes and 400,000 shillings have been turned into ashes.
Mimi nitasimamia sheria ya kunitaka eneo la msitu lihifadhiwe na litunzwe.
I stand by the law that forest is a reserved area. It needs to be protected by the government. I call upon residents to vacate and herd to the area that was set for them. Right now, we are waiting for them to harvest what they have cultivated, and after that, no one will be allowed to enter the reserve.
Watu hawaruhusiwi kulima na hawaruhusiwi kuishi ndani ya hifadhi.
People are not allowed to neither cultivate nor live inside a reserve. Plants will not be affected, but houses have to be demolished. It is against the law.
Dar es Salaam Regional Commissioner Abubakar Kunenge has announced implementation of an operation against theft of fuel from oil pipes at the port of Dar es Salaam, as this was endangering the lives of people and causing environment destruction. He made a statement during a tour at a fuel-carrying vessel and oil pipe at Kingamoni in Dar es Salaam.
Kwa ni kitendo ambacho si cha kizalendo, ni kitendo cha ulafi, ni kitendo cha ufisadi.
This is not a patriotic act at all. These are mere embezzlements. Once these oil pipes are sabotaged, it means that you are affecting all who were involved in the chain of bringing oil into the country, from importers to the government for failing to get enough income from the product.
Sababu nafanya wizi.
Niombe tu kutoa onyo kali kwamba
hili ambalo kwa kweli linahatarisha maisha ya Watanzania.
I'm warning all involved in these acts because it is threatening economic developments, security, and well-being of people. We shall not remain silent. Patrols will be held day and night to ensure that these people are arrested and taken to court.
Kwa sasa hivi kwa kweli tunatusaidia hizi mita toka zimeanza mpya, hakuna complaint na bado ziko kwenye chini ya uangalizi pamoja na mkandarasi.
These meters are operated by TPA and all energy stakeholders and all security organs.
And that is the end of the national news. International news comes next after the break. And in international news, the government of Rwanda has extended the lockdown ban in Kigali for another 7 days, being measures taken to control the further spread of the coronavirus. The latest development comes after the cabinet meeting held yesterday, which was led by President Paul Kagame. Report says that 7 people have died from COVID-19 in the past 24 hours, with 15,688 confirmed cases in the country. At least 32 people perished and dozens were injured in a road accident that occurred in Kasese district, West Uganda. The accident victims have been admitted to the mine hospitals located few kilometers from where the accident had occurred.
We are
trying to find out and make sure all the victims are taken to the hospital. For now, we are investigating on the cause of accident and more information will be given. The government of Rwanda has extended the lockdown ban in Kigali for another 7 days, being measures taken to control the further spread of the coronavirus. The latest development comes after the cabinet meeting held yesterday, which was led by President Paul Kagame. Report says that 7 people have died from COVID-19 in the past 24 hours, with confirmed cases in the country.
To strengthen those achievements with an additional week so that we can expect the maximum of what you expect in terms of the impact of lockdown.
Many freelancers are not working as they used to. So it is not a shame, it is not a crime that they would need this, they would need it to be considered in this program. So they need it.
The National Cohesion and Integration Commission, NCIC in Kenya, has said that it will publish the names of politicians and citizens whose words or conduct may undermine peace and harmony in the country. Speaking to the press, the chairman of the commission, Dr. Samuel Kubia, said there has been an increase of political tension in the country with over 15 months to the next general election, where he also condemned the violence recently witnessed at the funeral in Kiisi, where MPs Simba Arati and Silvanus Oroso fought in public. The Constitution stipulates the rights of each individual, and every right should be respected. If we get back to 2007 to revisit the cases, it will be bad for us as we are heading to the general election. If the leaders are fighting, what should the youth do? We want to sensitize the youth not to be misled. Kenyans have a responsibility to choose the leaders, leaving behind those who want to divide them and choose those who will help them to move forward. In our special report this week, Anja Koch from our media partner Deutsche Welle joined us to discuss Europe's coronavirus situation with a focus on Portugal and Germany's vaccination campaign. In Germany, the number of infections is going down, while Portugal, on the other hand, faces a sharp increase. Can you tell us what has caused this situation?
Yeah, the infection rate in Portugal indeed started to soar in the beginning of January. Since then, the number of active cases has gone up by more than 240%. There are basically two main reasons to that. The first is that there was a relaxation of social distancing rules during Christmas. People traveled, people visited their families. And the second reason basically is the Portuguese authorities said that the new strains of the virus, the more infectious strains, are already widespread in Portugal. Now, the situation there looks like this. The hospitals are overflowing. The health ministry said that over the past weekend, there were only 7 free ICU beds left for the whole country, and the government has now asked for help. Germany, for example, has offered that kind of help. Germany said they would send ventilators, among other things. Now, here in Germany, the numbers of new infections are actually going down. Active cases have dropped by around 40% since December. But having said that, there's also growing concern in Germany about the new strains of the virus. The German government just recently installed a travel ban for people coming from those countries where the new strains are already widespread.
Germany has started vaccinating people roughly a month ago, but the vaccination campaign has met with increasing criticism. Why is that, and how is the government reacting?
Well, especially elder people are complaining that the process to actually get an appointment is much too complicated. But also young Germans feel that the vaccination campaign is going too slow, and indeed manufacturers have fallen behind on deliveries. When we compare the numbers, when you see Germany has so far managed to vaccinate around 2.4% of its population. When you compare that to other countries, to the UK, for example, they have already managed to vaccinate around almost 14% of the population. So this week, the German government apparently felt the need to reassure Germans that they have understood the criticism. So the government organized at the beginning of the week a so-called vaccination summit, a meeting between Chancellor Merkel, regional leaders and representatives of the pharmaceutical companies.
And what was the outcome of the meeting?
Well, I think the most important outcome, at least for Germans here, was that Angela Merkel repeated her promise that everyone would be offered a vaccination by the end of the summer. That would mean by September 21st. That date is becoming more and more important for Germans. And she also said that she expected more deliveries by BioNTech. BioNTech is expected to deliver 75 million additional doses to the EU in the second quarter. But Merkel also stressed that in that first quarter of the year until March, there will be a shortage of vaccine that makes a quick end of Germany's lockdown very unlikely.
And that is the end of international news. Business comes next after the break.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
We believe that the driver is the customer.
To change the mindset of traditional HR to the digitalization.
Make sure that everybody can get some access to financial services.
And once we understand the vision of our leaders, we then need to be behind them and help them in achieving that vision.
Business have involved mercantile operations, trade guilds, or shared agricultural production, infrastructure, construction, financial sectors, tourism, and mining. Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
And in business news, the government is finalizing process to revive Tanzania Fishing Corporation. Speaking in Dodoma, the permanent secretary from the Ministry of Livestock and Fisheries, Dr. Shidita Matama, said revival of the corporation will strengthen measures being taken to fight illegal fishing, improve the value chain in the fisheries sector, and increase national income.
Tunalenga kununua, kuna meli ya kwanza itafika mwezi.
We aim at buying boats. The first one will land in December or November this year, and it will conduct fishing activities in the main ocean. But in the coming 4 to 5 years, the government will buy another 8 fishing boats. Through IFDA, 4 will go to Zanzibar and 4 to Tafiko. Ever since independence, that is the only area that has never been developed. So we are hoping to maximize fishing activities thrice the amount we produced at the moment.
Tunaamini Tafiko kwetu sisi ni shirika kubwa sana.
Tafiko is a huge institution. It's the chain that connects all fisheries. It's Tafiko that determines the market for the product. So the revival of Tafiko brings a new hopes. We will support in giving out capital from Tafiko and other stakeholders involved in this value chain. The Director of Financial System from the Ministry of Finance and Planning, John Sausi, has said that since the fifth phase government started using government electronic saved billions of shillings of public funds allocated for development projects which previously were being lost due to financial loopholes.
Hii ni mifumo ya kompyuta, haisahau. Kwa hiyo hata kama mtu atasema kwamba anakwambia anaenda kukusaidia kulipa au atakulipa, hakikisha unapata receipt.
These are electronic systems. It doesn't forget. Even when a person says they will help you to pay, make sure you get the receipt. And the only accepted receipt is the electronic receipt. Once you're done with the payment, you will receive your receipt through your cell phone. We do not provide the yellow receipt as they were a lot of forgery. The Minister of Agriculture, Professor Adolf Mkenda, has said more efforts are needed to increase investment in research in order to improve productivity in the agricultural sector. He made a statement in Dodoma during a meeting with extension officers.
Mfumo wa kitaasisi ni swala linaweza likaendelea kujadiliwa, lakini tunachohitaji ni kuhakikisha kwamba shughuli za ugavi kweli zinakuwa na impact kwa wakulima.
What we need is to make sure that all supply operations bring about impact to the farmers. There have been plenty of questions on greenhouse and who exactly to consult. And sometimes people ask, how do I develop my crops? We do this in cashew nut production. We will give much emphasis on research, and I have been on Research Institute several times.
Unajua tuna maafisa ugani.
Yote mtakubaliana mimi ya kwamba Mheshimiwa Rais kila mara amekuwa akitoa hii kauli mbele yetu kwamba
You will all agree with me that President has always been telling us that we need to shift to the commercial agriculture. We should stop doing it locally. Anyone who wants to cheapen agriculture should get more serious, and that agriculture should be a backbone to anyone doing it. I believe as the Ministry of Agriculture and others, we will soon get a lot of billionaires out of agricultural activities. And that is the end of business news. Sports comes next after the break.
Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's going to be dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's going to be dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Opposition, Marquinhos, he did lose to Lynn.
And in sports, young Africans fans and members have been urged to be patient as the club goes through its transformation, as the aim is not only to win the Vodacom Premier League, but to adhere to the country's regulation in changing its system.
Let's take step by step. You know, now we focus should be to transform the club,
make sure that we abide by the laws of the country, make sure that we are given a certificate that now you can transform. Come to the fans. Let's start to see our fans paying. Let's start to make sure that our systems are online, electronic. Somebody who wants to be a member of this club doesn't have to go to the branches and look for everything, can go just to a phone, to put your details in, and you are accepted as a member. So these are the things that we want to see by the end of the year. They should be done, you know. But the biggest one is Ubingwa or VPL.
Simba Sports Club have finally allowed midfielder Jonas Mkude to return to training after 1 month out owing to suspension. Here's more.
The Taifa Stars defender was suspended by the club on December 20th, 2020, though the Wakundo Msimbazi did not give the reason behind their decision. The player was then fined 2 million shillings by the club's disciplinary committee in order to apologize for his alleged behavior before being allowed to return to training. Simba have now confirmed the return of Mkude on their social media pages with a photo of their player training in the gym ahead of the resumption of the mainland Premier League.
Juventus head coach Andrea Pirlo has defended his decision to sub Cristiano Ronaldo out of Tuesday's win over Inter, despite the Portugal star being unhappy about being taken off the pitch. Here's more.
Ronaldo scored twice in the first half of the Coppa Italia semi-finals second leg, striking back after Lautaro Martinez had opened the scoring for Inter in the 9th minute. Juve will go on to win the match 2-1 at San Siro, taking a vital advantage into next week's second leg in Turin. After the game, Pirlo was questioned about his decision to take Ronaldo off in the 77th minute and said that he felt the need to rest his team star, who turns 36 on Friday.
Southampton manager Ralph Hasenhüttl did not hide his displeasure with Alexander Janket after the 19-year-old was sent off a horror challenge just 2 minutes into last night's match at Manchester United. Here's more to the details.
Jankiewicz got his leg up high in a nasty challenge from Scott McTominay and was shown red very early in his first Premier League start. Hasenhüttl's side did not deal well at all with going down a man, eventually losing 9-0 in a record-tying thrashing that saw them end the match further reduced to 9 men. The Saints boss said that his side's second red card shown to Jean Bretnarek for foul in the box on Anthony Martial long after the outcome had been settled disappointed him more than Jankiewicz's foul. But Hasenhüttl also didn't hold back on Jankiewicz, who is the first player to be sent off on his first Premier League start since Serge Aurier for Tottenham in September 2017.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin for tonight. Thank you for watching and good night.
You can watch Capital News live on our social media accounts, YouTube Capital TV and Facebook Capital Television Tanzania from Monday to Friday at 9:30 p.m. Don't forget to subscribe and put notification on.
What better place to get away from everything? We're here